All right, welcome to another episode of Oh Dark 30. Tonight's guest is a good buddy of mine. We met, like a couple years ago? Sure, we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
We serve in the same Army National Guard unit. It's
That you're
that
still a part
unit's,
of.
shh, don't tell anybody. Tonight's guest is, according to his name on the computer, is Jack Danger Palmer, but I know that is not true. So welcome, Seth, to the show, buddy. Welcome.
Glad to be here, buddy. Good to see you
I'm
again.
glad to
Good
have you
talk
here.
to you, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, man. I really like what you're doing with this. I've checked it out kind of before we came on, and I like it. It sounds like you're saying, telling the stories that we all like to tell, and then, when you get out, you kind of go, like you said, someone push record. You're like, damn, I'll never have those smoke pit chats or those. Man, we've been on CQ for 30-something hours. So,
Right. Just sitting on the back of Seth's pickup smoking cigars after the spur ride chats, That's
yeah,
what we're getting into.
where the BC rolls up in a fucking Honda Civic.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I like this. This is what I like to see. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, we're like, oh, we're fucked.
So Seth
And then Donkers
has
gets out of
been,
a
you've been in
fucking
the
Lincoln
Army
Nautilus.
for, you've been in the Army for almost 11 years.
Yes.
And I swear to everything that is holy that you are a spook. Because you
CID
were...
plant is the politically correct term.
My bad. So
Save
Seth
the
is
letter,
a HR specialist that wants to go shoot cool guns now. Because when I met you is when you came to the sniper section, and everybody's like, "Hey, who's this new hot rod?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm HR." I'm like, what now? You did what? So let's get into our life story from how we became. How do I put this nicely? A paper bitch to sniper section.
I prefer
Ready, go.
office chair jockey or keyboard commando. Frankly,
Is that what you guys
I,
prefer?
yes, I have my 10 key master badge. In case you were curious.
Okay. For all those
also,
of you out there that know 10 key master badge, I mean that's pretty elitist kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I guess we are.
I mean it's
most
so
people
elite
know
they
what
can't
10
even
keys.
wear it on their uniform. It's so elite.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Delta takes my phone calls. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's right.
Yeah, but so I joined the Oklahoma Army National Guard in 2014, October 31st. I was still in high school, but because of my birthday, I was over 17 and a half in my senior year. About halfway through that, I joined the, like I said, Oklahoma Army Guard as a paralegal. I knew this is what I wanted to do. Fun fact, I actually tried to join when I was 14 years old to be a medic, and they frown on that. I don't know if you know that.
Because it's not World War II and you can't sneak into Europe and join the army anymore.
When you're 14, that sounds like an awesome, that sounds plausible. You're just like, I'll just go in the summer, it'll be fine. So a little bit of time went on, and so then I became a paralegal. I shipped out in July. Yeah, July of 2015. Did basic training in Jackson, South Carolina. And then I did JAG school in Fort Lee, Virginia. So that's how I started with all that.
Okay.
And the original plan was...
Yeah, what was the original plan? Were you going to be like paralegal for... I know it's not one of the 18 series, so you can't be a paralegal for a group.
You can in regiment. They have...
You can in regiment.
In the BSB.
You can in regiment.
But so the plan originally was joining the National Guard. I'm one of 7 siblings at the time, 6 now, I think. And I'm the oldest boy, and so I was still trying to be kind of around for them and watch them grow up, and I was kind of help raising them, a couple of them at a time. So that's why I didn't go active duty. Hindsight being 2020, probably fucking should have.
Right.
But so the plan was basic AIT, and then jump into the fall semester of college, or the spring semester, excuse me. And start working on my law degree, and then I was like, oh, I get this brilliant plan. I'll be an attorney, during the month, and then I'll be a JAG officer, and I'll just, yeah, that was the plan. What I found out the hard way is that enrolling in college is not even remotely similar to enrolling in high school. In high school, you just walk in and pick your classes and you party on. In college, they're like, no, dude, you have to have all these paperwork, and it blew my mind because I had, some money saved up, I got a bonus, and I also had, the Oklahoma does tuition waiver at that time, and I was like, I basically have a check for the whole first year of school in my hand, and the dean of admissions was like, no, and I'm like, just so we're clear, because I have to tell the story later. You're telling me that I have a check, good American money, ready to go, and you're telling me you do not want me for the spring semester? And they were like, yeah, pretty much. I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know that
So,
universities turn down money. That's a new one on me.
right? Yeah, and so it kind of blew my mind. So then I was that was probably January of 2016, I guess. So then I kind of, wandering around going, I don't, that was my plan, and my plan just, fell flat on its ass. And so I did a couple of drills, and my unit at the time said, hey, we have these things called ADOS orders, ADOS, Active Duty Operational Support. And it's basically temp help. It's where, if anybody that doesn't know, it's where the National Guard has full-time people. And so, but for short orders, like 45 days, 90 days, getting ready for deployment, MOB, whatever it is. And they said, hey, I was attached to the S1 of a battalion BSTB at the time. And they were like, hey, who wants these orders? And I was like, well, I'm a 27 Danger. Can I do it? Because I was a bunch of 42s. And they were like, yeah. So I went, and that's how I ended up at recruiting command. And 45 days of orders turned into another 90 days of orders, turned into another year of orders. And that's how I ended up doing 2.5 years active duty or active time with recruiting command, Oklahoma. And then I did 3 years of AGR after that.
And you did this. You were an E4 at the time when you did that? Got promoted to E5?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah, my ADOS packet was done with me as an E3. And
Shit.
the Friday before the Monday I was supposed to start at recruiting, they called me to the front of the formation, and they were like, hey, you're an E4 now. And my only thought was, shit, this is going to fuck up my orders. And so I called the E5 I was working with, who she's actually a great friend of mine today. But I was like, hey, this is going to be a problem, because I thought, it's going to be this huge numbers game. Knowing what I know now, the difference between E3 and E4 is not anything compared to the Army. Especially with all the stuff we can leave in Afghanistan.
Right.
It's drafty in here. But no, she's like, hey, nope, you being E4 is actually a little bit better for us. Typically, E4 is what we bring on orders, so it works out. And so I said that was Friday. That Monday I started, and actually, then we went to AT, and so I was a brand new E4 doing paralegal stuff. It was me, an E5, a captain, and a major, and that was our task force JAG for an entire AT. And
I have no idea what it's like to be an E4 doing a whole lot of stuff during AT. I have no clue about that.
Yeah, it's a little. It's not for everybody. I can tell you that much.
It is not.
It's a lot about being modular and enhancing lethality is a lot of what that goes into that. So
Be a force multiplier? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes a force long divider if it really comes down to it.
When I was in charge during AT last year, that was super fun for all of us. And so I was doing E4 shit, and I was also doing E6, E7 shit. And when you told me during our briefing before we did our movement, you're like, dude, tell him, toss in force multiplier, toss in, the lethality, all that stuff. Dude, Sergeant Major, the commander, everybody just creaming their pants as I'm giving my spiel in front of a hangar full of, E6s and up to clear to the battalion commander. It worked like a charm.
True story. When I was in JAG school, It's mostly like I think the highest person we had was maybe a couple of reclass, fours and fives, but for the most part it was like E3s and below, right? Straight out of boot camp. And so we had a whole block of instruction taught by an E7, and I can see his face. I can't remember his name. TBI's a bitch, but it was a butcher block. Like I shit you not, a butcher block, and it was a whole block of instruction on how to brief officers, and it was legit. He was like they like bright colors and simple, pretty pictures. And I remember one of the scenarios we had to brief was soldier lives on base housing, and they have a political vote for whomever, vote for Pedro sign in their yard, and so you had to look up can you do that, all this other stuff. And so when we briefed this to the colonel as the graduation requirement, we had this butcher block, and it was a stick person and like a square and a triangle for the house, and it was like a little sign. It was like circle, line, go, turn the page, and there was the chapter and verse of the UCMJ and the post regulations that said you couldn't do it. And that has stuck with me my entire career.
Turn the page.
Can they do this? No. Next slide.
No.
I was like, huh.
Next.
Yeah, I was like, I love it. And they were like, promote above peers. You guys crushed it. Next. We're like.
So in your time with Oklahoma National Guard, because you were there until just a couple of years ago when you came to us, right?
Yeah. So I had a break in service. So
That's right.
I was in Oklahoma. COVID's fun, right? It was fun for everybody. So I was AGR pretty much all through COVID until the very ass end of it. And at the end of my 3 years AGR, which is where I picked up my truck driver, MOS, and my unit historian HR and something environmental NCO. That's where I picked that up. The AGR orders, active guard reserve, so that's your full-time National Guard person, but for a long stint of orders. So that's going to be like your recruiters, your unit admin NCOs, which is what I was, supply guys, that kind of thing. Your initial orders are cut for 3 years. So at the end of my 3 years, I said, hey, I either want to go back to recruiting command, because number one, you make more money, frankly. And two, I was like, or if I can't go back to recruiting, I want to go and join the Air Force. And they were like, yeah, okay, no problem. We'll go to recruiting. My E7 and my O3, who were my bosses, they said, hey, do what you have to do for your career, develop it, kind of on your own. I'm like, cool, Ranger that. So coming from recruiting battalion, I knew all the people. I knew the sergeant major, I knew the BC, and they were all asking about me like by name, like, hey, when are you going to come back to us, blah, blah, blah. And I said, actually, if you're interested, I'm a free agent in 2 months. So it went from they were cool with it to their brigade. They were cool. It went to state. It went all the way through the G1, and the G1 was cool with it. It went all the way up the highest level National Guard has, and then all the way back down to my battalion commander at the time, or battalion XO. Spoiler alert, he's a dick. And he denied it. He was like, he's like, no, I don't want him to go to recruiting command. I want him to leave the AGR program. And apparently I talked to some buddies that have been, 20, 25 years AGR, and they're like, I've never seen that. I've never in my life seen an AGR major at the time overrule the G1. I've never seen that. And I was like, I'm special, I guess. So AGR ended, so I still have, I had to sign an extension while I was AGR, so I still had like about a year or two. And I was like, so I went back to being M-Day and stayed in that same unit, and that's when I got into contracting. And about that time is because of COVID, what the state of Oklahoma was doing, the guidance from, I believe it was DOD, was to, if they refuse to disclose their vaccination status or outright refuse to vaccinate, they're basically the same. Silence is a no, right? So every time the unit would ask, like, hey, do you want the shot? Do you have it? Whatever. I always asked, where's your HIPAA cert? Because I am an asshole from the JAG Corps. And
legalese
the
shit out of that.
and so they would never produce it. And a couple times they would put like a little, like out of the little green battle books, little notebook paper. And they're like, yeah, write everybody's names. And I'm like, that's wrong. Anyway, so I never disclosed my status, so they counted me as a no. And so what all National Guards were supposed to do at the time was immediately process anyone who said no or refused to disclose for discharge. The problem is in Oklahoma, we're technically an IBCT, so I think we're like 5,000 strength on a good day. Like if we're at max strength, 5,000 some change. When they did all the paperwork and went, here's all the people that we're going to lose to natural attrition and also this whole COVID thing, it cut them down to like 1,700 assholes or something.
Holy cow.
So they went, whoa, pump the brakes. We're going to lose a lot of funding off of that, right? Because it's never about soldiers. No one gives a shit about soldiers.
No,
it's about funding.
It's always about money.
Yeah, so they were like, whoa, well, maybe we don't do that. And the governor of Oklahoma at the time was one of the like 7 that filed suit against the federal government and said, let's just wait, let's see, let's not start discharging people. Our tag at the time said, fuck you, governor, I'm in charge. To which he said, you can retire. So there was this whole mommy-daddy thing going back and forth. But there's a lot of dudes that got caught in the middle. And I was one of the guys that got caught in the middle because you weren't allowed to drill. If you couldn't produce your card, you weren't allowed to come to drill. So they were like, you can't come. They were doing a separate deal, not you have to wear a mask. They were just like, you can't come. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to go make money and contract. I guess call me, right? And so they never did. They never reached out to me. Nothing happened so I did a year on my first contract, a year straight, got back, still nothing, still haven't heard from anybody. And then that would have been 2023 or 22, I think, because that was the year that my Army contract was supposed to expire. And when I was working for Department of State, I had to get my service records because they're like, are you still in the Army? And I'm like, that's a good question. I don't actually know. And I called and I was like, hey, I need either my DD4, which is a National Guard discharge form, or a 214. And the records lady, she's super sweet. She's been doing it for, I think, since before Christ got out of the Army. But she was like, hey, I can't give you that document. And I'm like, it's my document. She goes, no, it's not that I like can't give it to you. I don't have one. Like, you don't have one. So I was still technically on the books for 2 years and never got a call, never drilled, any of that. And then my contract would have expired on October 31st. I got a discharge packet September like 13th. So like 30 days shy of just completing the contract. They were like, oh yeah, now we're going to discharge you.
So we're going to go ahead and get rid of you.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. But a lot of guys were in that boat. I mean, you had people that moved states with their families and whatever because the Guard never called them and they didn't have anything to do. And then when they went, yeah, we can start drilling them again, they're calling like, hey, we have drill this weekend, hope to see you. And they're like, I live in fucking Nevada, dude. What are you talking about? You haven't talked to me for 2-3 years. They're like, yeah, we never actually discharged you. Because that's the law, right? At least it used to be. The law for the Army, at least for the National Guard, is you have to, in the event of certain negative administrative actions, like you pop hot on a piss test, you're AWOL, whatever, you have to initiate discharge. The language was very clear. You had to initiate. It does not say complete. So I have to do it at my level and say, we're kicking, Sergeant First Class Levi, Big Dick Lucas out of the Army for being too handsome. And I have to send it up, but no one has to do anything with it beyond that. It's been initiated. It's never been processed.
Right.
So
that's so crazy.
Yeah,
so crazy.
It was a good time.
I mean, I'm dealing with that shit right now, and you know that.
Yup.
I don't want to get rid of you because you're Black Boot Army and you can fix these guys. Cool. I don't want to sleep in a closet on a cot on weekends. Mm-hmm. So, bye.
Well, and that's part of the. I say funny because you got to laugh at this shit, right? But so the way it used to work. Again, I haven't been a full-time Army guy for 4 or 5 years now, and everything constantly changes. But what they used to do is keep you on the books as long as possible. They wouldn't keep punch or discharge. You wouldn't be drilling. You'd be getting your retirement pension, all that sexy stuff. But they wouldn't actually roll you off the books until the start of the next FY, or at least as many quarters as they could possibly manage, because it looks like your force strength is heavier than it actually is. True story, I actually had to extend a guy one time. He had like 6 years in the Navy and 20-something years in the Army, 22, 24-year service vet. When I was AGR, the day before his actual ETS, I get a call from from battalion in G1, and they're like, "Hey, Sergeant Palmer." I was like, "Yes." Like we were talking about, right? It's never good when you get a call. I'm like, "Yo," they were like, "What's the story on Sergeant McClarty?" And I was like, "What do you mean? did 22 years of service. Like, he was in the Navy. He's a cool guy. Like, he's getting out. Like, about 23 hours. Why? And they're like, we weren't tracking that at all. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. It's been in the system. And so they go, hey, can you call him and have him do an honest-to-God legal military extension for 6 months so we can do the paperwork on our end? And I was like, let me get this straight.
My God.
You want me to call a soldier who we had his last drill, we did the hail and farewell, all the stuff. Dude's already got his beard going. You want me to call this guy, ask him to sign an extension because you failed. You fucked the soldier. You weren't paying attention. And they were like, well, I wouldn't phrase it like that, but yes, Sergeant, that's what we want you to do. It's like, all right, but when this goes south, I'm sending it to you. And I called him, and he was cool about it. He goes, of course I got to get fucked one last time. Like, yeah, hopefully your ass hasn't unstretched itself, because...
It's that big green weenie, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's the big green weenie every time.
Even the pull-out game is slow. The insertion is quick, but, man, that pull-out is...
Agonizing.
slow.
Agonizing.
Oh, yeah.
So, in your several years with National Guard, you didn't get any combat deployments, but
No, sir.
You did mobilize. We'll call it mobilize.
Technically, National Guards can't deploy. They can only mobilize because they're state entities, not federal. But yeah.
All right, legalese, dude. Jeez.
Legal beagle for life, baby.
Right. All right. Well, where did you?
I'm sitting on a UCMJ right now.
I figured you were. Where did you mobilize?
So the only official National Guard mobs that I did were SADs, state active duty missions. We went down to Hurricane Harvey. And so I usually make the joke when I meet people from Texas that I'm like, oh, last time I was in Houston, it was underwater. Sometimes they think it's funny. Sometimes they do not. So we went down there for that. It was a really quick mission because they were trying to plus up the task force. We basically went down there and came back. Like, oh, we didn't know we were going to get that many people that quick. I'm like, well, when you ask for 5,000 people from 7 states, like, you're going to get 5,000 people. But so I did that one. And then being AGR is kind of this weird position because you're full-time already. A lot of times you don't need full-time orders to come and facilitate missions. So, like, when there was, like, the riot stuff, I was facilitating a lot of that for our guys, hauling gear and all that kind of stuff. So did a bunch of that kind of stuff. And we actually had, while I was in the Oklahoma Guard, I think we did 2 or 3 actual overseas OCONUS mobilizations. And I volunteered for all 3 of them. And every single time, they said, no, the job you're doing here is too important, or we just don't want you. I was like, so, because I was in recruiting command and I was AGR and all this other stuff. So they were like, no, we don't want you. We want you doing what you're doing here. And I'm looking at my slick sleeve going, but I wants it. I wants it.
I
and
need
they were
it.
like, that's cool, but get fucked. So.
Right. And now you're with us. You've gone from legal beagle for life
Ow!
to truck driver.
Yeah, I was recruiter in between there.
Okay, that's right. And now you're in the sniper section. Have you gotten orders to go to reclass?
I did. I actually, bro, that was a whole thing. So I went to, so you remember the government was shut down, right?
Yeah.
Not this last time, but the time before. You always got to be specific because they're always shutting down. So that whole block where we didn't have drill for like 4 months between September and fucking whatever, January. Yeah. So I was actually in Poland for work, and I was over there, and right before I left, I got a text from our sniper daddy, Panye East, and he was like, hey, are you tracking this? And it was clearly like a leader's group chat, and it's just a snapshot that says, hey, all the snipers are interested in whatever this course was. And someone, I can't remember, some sergeant major, was like, oh, Palmer's slotted for MOST that date. And he goes, were you tracking this? And I was like, no. Because I had a whole conversation with Kramer about, how you can't do this. And it was a whole thing. And I was like, if it has November in the name, I can't go. I have a work obligation before November. Yes, after November, probably. But not November. And they took that to mean 30 November is okay. So I was like, can't do it. So I go to Poland, doing what we're doing with work, and then Kramer texts me, and he goes, "Hey, maybe you already got this worked, but can you come and do this school?" And I was like, I'm looking at it, and I go, if I move a bunch of shit around, I can maybe swing it, something like that. And he goes, yeah, do that. So $1,300 on a plane ticket, and 5,300 miles later, I go from Poland. I'm back for I think a couple of days, and then I drive to Little Rock, Arkansas, to go to 11 Bravo reclass.
That all tracks. Yeah, that all makes total perfect logistical sense. You know.
Yeah, it was a great guard day. Yeah. And my favorite part was, so apparently Kramer went to the classic right before I did, and I was like, all right, like, hey, what do I need to, like, I'm not in school shape per se, like, I'm in shape for the job that I'm currently doing, but he goes, no, that's fine, like, you do a 12-mile ruck, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, no problem, I can do 12 miles, you know. What he didn't tell me, conveniently, was that the way they have the curriculum set up for 11 Bravo reclass is you have to do a 2 mile, a 4 mile, a 6 mile, an 8 mile, a 10 mile before you do your 12 mile, all in about the first week and a half. So you have to do like 30 or 40 miles. I went to public school, so my math skills aren't good. But you do like 30 to 40 miles in prep for this timed 12 mile. And as an E4, you know how long you have to do that 12 mile ruck? 5.5 hours or some shit. It comes out to like a 27-minute mile. Yeah, I'm like, dude, if I can't do 27-minute miles, put me down in the wood line. Just fuck. Yeah. And so I'm looking at the requirements, and I'm like, no problem, I got this. And he's like, oh, yeah. And yeah, no one conveniently tells you about the 30 or 40 miles of prep that you have to do for the 12
That's
and I was not
insane. Even going through infantry basic training and AIT, we didn't run march that much at all. That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. Like, yeah, I'm big on training value, and you and I kind of had to talk about, like, you know, like the sniper assessment of the tryouts and all that stuff. Like, there needs to be training value in whatever you're doing, right? Even if you're low crawling somebody in a ghillie suit, there needs to be training value, right?
Well, that was more punishment value. That was more, yeah. That was more for my value than anybody else. That would be what it was called. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, but no, and so there needs to be training value, and that was, and I'm relatively, I say famous, probably infamous for my course critiques, because I'll keep a running list of any school that I go to, and I'm like, hey, these are things that, you know, where they got addressed and they got handled well, or hey, these things still need to be, you know, worked on. And yeah, I was flaming that road march thing. I'm like, why? What's the training value? Show me the training value in me showing up to a 21-day course and doing 40 miles in order to graduate when all I had to do was 12 in a time frame. Like, that's the requirement. All this extra shit, the 2, 4, 6, all that build up, not a graduation requirement. I'm a big, give me the graduation shit. Let's do that in like the first week, get all this done. Then we can train and do the other things. But
yeah, that makes no sense, because even going through actual active duty, basic training, and AIT for infantry, you don't do near that much. And it just completely blows my mind that in 21 days, you're doing that much road marching.
Yeah, and yeah. I didn't get it, and as I said, I made it a point to voice my concerns on that. And it's the thing too. Like, I'm old and salty by this point. You know, in the Army, anytime you do more than 6 or 8 years, like a first contract, you're kind of old. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Black Boot Army like you were. Or maybe you said Black Gestapo. I can't remember what you said. Anyway, the point is, no, but it's still, you know, very much, what's the point?
Right.
You know?
And that's the thing with the National Guard right now is, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what our drill weekends are absolutely, completely worthless.
Yep.
And we've talked, me and you have talked about this several times together.
Yes, sir.
And when we had AT last year, and they're like, by the way, we just got back from deployment, so platoon daddy is gone. All E5s are gone. You are in charge. I said, what now? They're like, yeah, you're running the sniper section for AT. And I said, Okay, well, okay.
Want to
And
spit on it first? Jesus.
right. I mean, buy me a drink at least.
No, we bought the
And,
drinks. We put on the
no,
cookout.
yeah, we bought the cookout and the drinks. God damn it! And nobody showed up. It that was one of those things that like, man, that's the most Army National Guard thing that could happen right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I get it to an extent, but again, I guess it comes down to that line of leadership, right, between like expectation and requirement. Because okay, yeah, you just got back from a MOB, congratulations, right? Like you went to Kuwait, calm down, right? First of
Yeah.
all, secondly, so AT is optional. Oh, is it like a funding thing because you're only allowed so many UTAs, but deployment money is different from AT money. So what's the issue? And all that notwithstanding, you're still back to so you can't even show up. Like most dudes live in or around Fort Riley, Kansas, or somewhere close enough where you say, hey, I'm going to swing by. We're at least going to be at this drill, like something. And it was literally just us, the whatever 6 of us, alone and unafraid, winning the war in the Lisco, pulling shit out of our ass. And I just like that was insane.
Dude, that whole week, that whole 2 weeks, I made completely up.
Oh yeah,
No idea what
yeah.
I'm
There
doing.
was
I went into that Lisco briefing with like 7 words on a piece of paper, and I'm like, "Here's what we're doing," and we're like, "Cool, Roger that. You got fucking snipers, yes." We're like, "I'm glad you bought that because I don't know what I'm doing."
you're like, thank God that worked out really well.
Well, because that first
No,
movement that we did, that first one, we went up and we waited. They're like, "We're gonna take these 2 buildings." And they get up to the
yeah,
tree line and they're jumping out of their Bradleys and they're doing their cool hua shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I was like, let's drive around these hose bags and let's go to the building that we're supposed to take because they've been doing
yeah.
these 2 buildings for a really long time. And we get around, get parked, get up to the roof of our building, set up our counter sniper position. And they're like, where are the snipers? We're like, we've been in position for like 45 minutes.
No, like, dude, there's on a 3-man team. One dude's already done eating. Another guy's halfway through his MRE. Like we're set.
Oh, dude, I've already eaten my lickies and chewies. I was like, let's get back to our trucks. It's hot out here.
Yeah, like dude, 5 more minutes of this, I was throwing up the hammock. Shit, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Right.
mobile cover position. Yeah, no, and the whole thing about that was like it was just fundamentally bananas to me because they were like, okay, the snipers, right, are going to set up. They're going to first of all, they're going to escort the assaulting element or the lead element in a Lisco in trucks that we've never seen before and also don't have guns. Sure, all right, because we're supposed to do that. So then you
Cool
info they're
story.
like, oh, and then the snipers are gonna be on the assaulting element. Wrong, right? That's wrong. Our 2 boys fucking right there. Then you're gonna go and set up a hasty hide site on a whole cactus area that these guys are supposed to assault, and you're just gonna go with them and then kind of peel off around. And you're like, none of what you just said made sense. Like,
No, and
that
there's
was
no term in sniper military called hasty hide site.
no, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's fucked up like a football bat. Like, what are you talking
I
about?
think it's funny because after when we did the AAR, and I was sitting in that room completely out of my element because I'm an E4, and I'm in this room with battalion sergeant majors. It was shiny that day. It was shiny as hell. The battalion command sergeant major is like, well, what could we have done different? I was like, well, our job that we did is not our job. That's for the
I got some
scouts.
shit for you, sir.
And I laid it out for him. And I'm like, who do you think the scouts get their info from? Who do you think weather gets their info on? S1 gets their info from somebody. Guess who it is, sir? It's us because we're in that tree line for several days giving this information up. How do you know which 2 buildings you had to attack? How do you know what weapons and what military personnel were there? It was us. It was me. And I was like, he goes, oh, so what would you have had us do? I'm like, I would have had us dropped off, a couple of clicks out from objective A and us walk our little happy asses into the tree line and watch said Objective A for several days, giving you the information that you needed to make this mission happen. I was like, that's how it's
Something,
supposed to
something,
happen.
observe and report. Something,
Right.
something.
And he's like, fun fact, I enlisted 1 month prior to our command sergeant major. Oh, so they're
Jesus.
asking an E4 with a combat deployment what to do in all these situations. I'm like, this is what you need to do. This is how it should be done, because this is how it's done in real Army shit, and this is how I've done in real world shit.
How many cuneiform tablets were the DD-214s back then when you and him enlisted? My admin brain is kicking on. Sorry, I just...
You want to see mine? I'll pull it up for you. I'll send it to you in email.
I don't know what the hieroglyphics or cave painting for Article 15 are.
Well, it was dot matrix back then. Dot matrix.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Printed out in long form with the holes on the side of the printer.
Yeah. Little shotgun envelopes just for effect. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, interdepartmental carrier pigeons. Fuck it.
So I got a fun question for you.
What you got, bud?
And I know for a fact I'm going to get a good answer out of this. I know it.
No pressure.
Oh, no. So, what is one thing? No, we'll just call, what are some things that are in your ruck that probably shouldn't be?
Probably shouldn't be.
Probably shouldn't be.
Totally unrelated to the question you just asked me, but a fun tidbit of knowledge that I learned from some of the older boys told me is that a standard issue metal canteen cup will hold an entire, 12-ounce can of soda plus ice plus about a quarter of a fifth of whiskey of your choice.
Just a nip.
Yeah, just nightcap. Just a little something.
Just a nip.
Yeah.
See, that's not for them. That's not for new school to know. That's old school information. That's privileged information, sir.
Dude, new school doesn't even know what a canteen cup is. They think everything is Camelback. I mean,
True story.
You can put liquor in a Camelback. It just never comes out ever again.
No, it stays forever.
Yeah, I mean, I always got my lickies and chewies. I don't do a whole lot of stuff I'm not supposed to do. Like,
come on,
anymore.
you've got unauthorized shit in your ruck.
Dude, half my kids unauthorized. What the fuck are you
That's
talking about?
That's what I mean. I know you have unauthorized shit.
I will say, fun fact, I am actively working on a memorandum for the sniper section that authorizes us to wear our personal gear or otherwise non-issue gear. I'm working on the verbiage because part of me says go with as long as it's, I can say issue but not by the U.S. military, or I can just say gear of approximate size and description, meaning like multicam or some other color. And as long as we get the fucking commander to sign that, Fort Riley can eat my dick. The back.
Well,
of my
see,
dick.
and it's funny because some of the shit that we wear is authorized for use and issued to other military units.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's Fort Riley commanders. Oh, it's got to be this. It's got to be that. Or you can't do our range. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, see, and that was the issue we ran into a couple times. You and I have on Riley but it was the word choice they use is always indicative, right? It was always that's not issue. That's not issue. So if our authorization says issued, it doesn't say by the U.S. military. It just says issued. So you could wear fucking MARPAT. We could wear whatever as long as it's issued, just not necessarily to us.
I mean, my plate carrier is issued by the Israeli Defense Force.
Yeah.
That's what they're wearing in Israel right now.
Yep, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. So as long as it is issued, you just didn't say issued from where. And the other thing too is what is the definition of issued, right? Is it two? It's like a convoy, right? What's a convoy? 3 or more vehicles. That's it. So what? Technically, it's 2, depending on what you're doing. But
I mean, if they're using that verbiage of issued, then I can go wear a pair of Solomon tennis shoes because those are issued to 18 series.
Oh yeah,
they're issued to the battalions.
Right, but that's the question. Like I was saying was if issued is just a question of given out to a certain group of people, what's that threshold? 5 guys? Cool. If 5 of the sniper section buy the same plate carrier, guess what? Now that's issued. Do you have to use sniper funds, government funds? Do you just have to order it through GSA? What are we calling issued? Because if you tell me what game we're playing, I can win it. but you can't
Well, at
keep
one
moving the
point they're
goalposts.
like, does it have an NSN number? Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
That
Then
that right there says that can be an issued item because it's got an NSN number.
yeah, and anymore the GSA Advantage, which is one of the systems that like gear companies use to, or I guess private sellers use to distribute equipment to the government. Um, they have a lot of their stuff in there. So now, even if it doesn't have an NSN, almost everything should have an NSN. But if it doesn't, you can pull up like I think Spiritus is one of them off the top of my head. But like at the bottom of their website it says order with GSA Advantage. You can click it and it goes, oh, here's what you need to call this in your system: plate carrier, comma blah
Yeah, it's
hyphen
all the
blah.
backwards shit that the military uses.
Yeah. But then you
Yeah.
go, oh, but it's in the government system. Son of a bitch! If it's in the government system, which and I had a
Hey.
similar conversation when I went to 88 Mike School because we had to use BII for a tire change on a trailer, which was a whole thing. Because I was like, listen, they're like, well, what if you're getting shot at in combat? So you have to do this in 10 minutes. I'm like, if I'm getting shot at in combat, I'm burning this trailer to the fucking ground because I got 91 Bravos that'll either fix it or get me a new one. I'm not writing a letter to somebody's family like, listen, I didn't want to burn up that trailer, so your son's in a box. But we got home on that trailer and he can change it in 10 minutes with the factory BII. But anyway, where I was going with that was the fucking
I
the
digress.
trucks. The trucks that we had, the factory BII was like an old, a 90-degree tire iron and all that kind of shit. The 4-way. On the A3s, I think we had the A2s. On the A3s, the factory BII was a fucking air impact that hooked up to the glad hands, and we were like, we can't do this test on A3s, and they were like, no. Like, goddamn.
Of course
And
not.
anymore, some of them, I don't know if it's BII, but you can order them on GSA. You can order like DeWalt Impact, like you can order good shit. And it's like, so again, why? If the government's wasting millions of dollars, you may as well waste it on something we're actually gonna fucking use.
Right, right. And so always thought it was funny, like back in the day, almost early 1900 or late 1900s,
Yeah, yeah.
we still had, our assistant machine gunners carried the spare barrel
And asbestos
for
gloves.
and asbestos gloves and the asbestos bag. That's what I used for my
Yep.
pillow.
Yep. Oh,
'Cause it was-
that's what happened to the hair.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
squishy.
Right. Yeah,
It makes
okay.
sense, right? It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was squishy. It has good padding on it.
Yeah, and again, that's the young kids don't know anything about it. That asbestos is soft. Like
It is very
and dude,
soft.
some of the best sleep I ever got was like we were doing something. I'd been up for 5 days. I remember distinctly it was like 5 days, and I was trying to do the right thing, right? Like I was an NCO, and so I was covering the radio watch. I didn't build a radio roster. I was just watching the radio at night so Joe's could sleep, and we did something, went and qualled, and like I just remember like I just have to hit enough to go take a nap, and I did. I shot like a 20 on the old quals, like 22, 23, like just enough to pass. I was like, fuck it, good enough. Back of the LMTV, dude, on camo nets and poles. Some of the best sleep I've ever had. I was zonked.
Yeah.
It was boots on, just that sexy sleep. Just
Yeah, that good stuff. Yeah. No, I had.
so I guess to answer your question, the stuff I'm not supposed to have in my ruck is stuff that makes my life as an old guy easy. If I need a DeWalt battery to charge my shit, I've got a little lantern that's magnetic. You can stick it to the inside of medical vehicles, and so I have a cab light because I like that kind of shit. Yeah, anything that makes my life easy, that whether you issued me or not, fuck, I'll paint it brown. I don't care.
Yeah, you're definitely a gear queer for sure.
Oh yeah. I am an absolute gear queer, 100%. What's the other one? It's gear queer and not kit faggot. I can't fucking remember what it is, but
No, I do like that. That's good. We should start it.
yeah.
Just coin that one.
Yeah. But no, dude, and so like I'm a big hammock guy, because like I've slept on the ground, you slept on the ground, with the push pad, without the push pad, like you done all that cool, that sexy shit. This has been years ago in my career now, but somebody turned me on to hammocks, and because the big thing for me was I did the first 6 years of my career, I used outside of basic training, I never used my sleeping system. I brought it to my first AT and my E7 at the time, showed me how to pack it all into the stuff sack, not the stuff sack, god damn it.
No, you're right.
Is okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just in the stuff sack, and it's fucking big, but it's all to time for turning. You just stop that bitch out, and it's all right there. The problem is it doesn't pack back in easy, and so I never used it because I wanted to always have it, and so I got turned on to hammocks, and it was either AT or maybe one of SAD missions I was on. Anyway, I wrote an SOP with a good buddy of mine. I got him John Hawley. He's probably fucking sergeant major now, but we came up with an SOP for how to install hammocks in the different rolling stock that we had. The best way to do it. Dude, I shit you not. Appropriate height with diagrams to like where you would hang it and still use the LMTV so it wouldn't sag. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing.
Hell yes, I love it.
Power
That's
probe, baby.
That's the old Seth Palmer SOP right there.
Damn right. God, that Seamaster looks good. Yeah. What strap you got it on?
Amazon, fine.
Yeah, I'm still on my,
So,
my tag. I got one of
everybody
those
else
low rubber
has
straps.
pretty sweet superstitions for the military. Do you got any of those? Or like a
For the
ritual
military-
or superstition?
Yeah, well, I keep fucking nurses, and that's bad luck, apparently.
That is
So I
bad
gotta
luck.
Figure that deal out.
Don't do that.
So the one I never understood the most was never wash your hat, your PC. That never made sense to me.
That's weird.
I don't know. If
I like washing it
my-
because it breaks it in. It makes it soft.
Right, and my thing too is like, so my rebuttal to that was always, are you just not working hard enough that you're not sweating and it doesn't smell like ball sack and you need to actually go do some real work? Because I'll find some real work for you to do.
Right.
But no, dude, I never understood that one. I know that was a big thing for a lot of guys for a long time. I'm real big on the. I'm sure you've heard this, but like if I open a knife and hand it to you, I have to close it.
Yeah. No, that's
that's-
absolutely true.
No, 100%. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. I'm big on that one. There's always a bunch of other ones like. Oh well, I do believe in blood pins. I will say that I do believe in blood pins. But so yeah,
You're gonna have to explain that one to the people at home because they don't know.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah. Let me get my gray hairs on point here.
There you go. Fix that up.
So, in blood pins, what blood pinning is in the Army when you go to a school, usually airborne, but air assault does it. I have my muff diver master badge. My first deployment was actually the Poontang Delta, but I don't have like my Army dive bubble. But also the pink taco MRE is my personal favorite.
That's the worst one,
But,
man. There's no candy.
No, but there's a nice little chocolate hole if you dig around a little bit. You gotta look through it, but you can find it. Usually only on your birthdays and holidays, but you can find it. But yeah, man, that was my blood pins. Excuse me. So I'm running out of beer. So blood pinning is when you graduate a school. They're not damaged. Damaged the little gold things that hold it on, but the pins themselves have little like forks kind of on the back that actually penetrate the uniform and stick into it. Most of your badges are going to be worn somewhere around your collar, and then back in Levi's day, after they got rid of the gray and the blue uniform, they started going to like the BDUs and stuff with the collars, and your ranks and stuff would be worn on here. So what blood pinning is, you put them on without the little backers, and you put them in, and then you give them a nice little, just to make sure they
tap.
seat.
Just tap, taparoo.
Some of the fabric is thick, and it was called blood pinning because I think back in BDUs they had like a white undershirt or whatever. But any shirt that you're wearing, if you do it correctly, you will get two little cute holes and two little cute red marks. And
Gotten
if
some
you're
cute
really
holes from
well-liked-
some schools, some EIB, CIB, and I got a couple of
Yeah.
ranks stuck in some collarbones.
But do you have your printer jam master badge?
I don't. I was so close to getting that one, and I got a good paper feed on the last one, and they disqualified me.
Yeah, you always got to check the ink trays, man. If you don't do it in 1-3-5 order, it will never work. So
Right. And
Remedial action.
that bottom paper tray,
mm-hmm.
sometimes it sticks just enough that
Yep.
I mean, just a cunt hair, it's sticking out, and
Yep.
you just
you
can't
gotta
get it.
you gotta give it a good kinetic recalibration. When you seat that
Right.
one, it's like a Mark 19, dude. You gotta pull it back like it owes you fucking money.
I had that good paper feed that last one, and they disqualified me, so I did not.
Well,
Receive
and
that
the kind
award.
of paper matters too, whether it's legal or copy. So
Right.
you know,
It could be thicker.
Yep.
Not like Palmer. It's not thick at all, but it could be
dude,
thicker.
No, shit. If I could have made money on OnlyFans, brother, I'd already had one. I have a small dick, a long neck, and tattoos. That's all I got. There's not a market for that.
I thought you had the good feet,
I
though.
checked. I mean, I've been to the Good Feet store, and
Got
No,
you some
after
good
doing 40,
insoles.
yeah, after doing 40 miles of fucking prep for a 12 mile, no,
So
dude, my feet are
stupid.
still mad. I
That
was
is so
pissed off about
stupid.
that.
God, that's
Yeah,
stupid.
and you 2 point, yeah, and I also have gotten some, you're talking about the blood pins and the good holes. I've gotten some good holes from nurses, but they just keep ruining my fucking life.
Well, you gotta stay away from nurses, dude. They're
Yeah,
psychotic. Sorry to all the
I
nurses listening, but you're
yeah, but
psychotic. You're dirty
they put the
and
hot
psychotic.
in psychotic. Okay,
Right.
and here's the other thing too. I live in Oklahoma. I live on the fucking reservation. Okay, I wear cowboy boots almost everywhere I go. Why? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you. Because the girls I date aren't allowed to have shoelaces. But I tell you something, Levi. Those socks ain't the only thing that's grippy. All right.
That's the Seth I know and I wanted right there.
I'm just saying. I'm a sucker for the vacuum of space. All right.
All right, buddy. I got something for you.
All right. What you got?
And this could be anything. So
Okay.
in the true nature of the show,
Yes, sir.
Dark 30, where nothing good happens after midnight. Do you have a good nothing good happens after midnight story? You probably got like 12 of them, but
Yeah. So nothing good happens after midnight.
you know it's true.
No. Huh. Absolutely. It was technically after midnight. I got once upon a time. One of my buddies. I was a 5 at the time. He was a 4. He's one of those guys that he's only a 4 technically, right? Like he's just so squared away. You're like they should have given you stripes years ago, kind of
I
guys.
don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I know. It's well. What do you read about it sometime and get back to me? But he was dude. He was a force multiplier, man. He was just increasing lethality out the
Sexy
ass.
talk. Sexy
Oh
talk.
yeah. But wait for it. Modular. Anyway, no. So he was a great dude. And so his promotion orders finally came down on a 3-day field drill weekend, and so I brought a bottle of soda to celebrate, and nobody else was interested in the soda, so I accidentally did a whole bottle of wild turkey soda by myself, and then I drove the bus home the next morning at like 08.
Yes. I love it.
So yeah, I mean that
But did you
happens.
die? No. Not at
No,
all.
nobody died.
Nobody died. See?
And let's see. Once upon a time, we allegedly I went out with some of my homies on a drill weekend, and the 45th Infantry, Oklahoma's National Guard. For a couple years, they were doing a lot of 3-day drills, and so my house was in the town where I was stationed. And Oklahoma's a big state, so they had guys that were coming from 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away to get there, and you're like, well, it makes sense to just come over and stay at my house the night before than you're trying to leave at 02 to be here at 08 and all that stuff, which is mostly what I do now for Kansas, but that's not the point. So they came over, and it was one of the few home station drills we had, so we went out. You always go out on the town, right? And my buddy Tyler, love him. He's got a beautiful daughter. I love his woman. Great guy. But he was always known as the pretty one. Dude's like 6'2", just classic, rugged, handsome. Just one of those dudes where you're like, save some for the rest. Like, I had to have flood insurance anytime he brought a girl over. So, fun fact, I ran out of coasters. But, so it was me and him and a couple other dudes, and we go out, and they wanted to go dancing. I'm like, I don't dance, but we were going out drinking, and we see a pot of whales, right? For the listeners who don't know, this isn't National Geographic. A pot of whales, a bunch of fat bitches, look like they're made out of trash bag full of like gravy, right? And so they wanted some of Tyler, dude. They wanted some of Tyler, something fierce. And he was like, nah, he had a girlfriend, and so they danced with him a little bit, blah blah blah. Anyway, so the way he tells the story is, I was the first one to go, hey, finish your drinks, we're getting in the car, let's go. Like we're leaving right now, something ain't right. I don't remember that. I just remember going, we're leaving, because I drove. Get us back to the house, wake up the next day, something's not right. Something ain't right. We're at drill, and I'm like, I've been hungover before. This ain't that. Right? I've had food poisoning. This ain't that. But I can't be that guy, right? I don't want to be a bitch. So I'm just like, So I'm pounding Monster, pounding coffee, pounding fucking. We had no medics to give us stick bags, otherwise we'd have done that. Nothing. Nothing is helping. I'm like, what the shit? Even my first sergeant was like, Palmer, you don't look good. I'm like, first sergeant, first of all, hurtful but fair. I look good if you sit on me. Secondly, I don't feel that good. And he's like, you get hungover. I'm like, I wish. So I see Tyler about lunchtime. I see him in passing, and I just look at him, and he looks at me, and there's just that same look of, I feel like fucking hammered dog shit, right? I've been shot at and missed and shit at and hit. And so we meet up in the smoke pit a little while later. Come to find out, we got roofied like sons of bitches. And our buddy Jared, who was in E6 at the time, who was also at the house, was supposed to go from where we were at to drive like an hour south to master gunner training or something. I left the house like an hour and a half before everybody else. Jared was up getting in the shower when I left. He never showed up to it's called Edmond. He never showed up to the master gunner he was supposed to be at. And so I'm like, Tyler, did you see Jared when he goes, he was in the shower. I'm like, what time did you leave? And he's like, 8. I'm like, I left the house at 7, and he was in the shower too. So Tyler gets in his truck, hauls ass to my house. It was a couple miles away. Jared's still in the shower. This dude was in the shower for at least 8 hours. Just, obviously I'm completely out of hot water. And he just passed out in the shower taking a nap. And yeah, we got roofied. It was great. Come to find out, we're like, what happened? Was seeing or was kind of in a situationship with the bartender, didn't tell anybody that he left her to be with his then girlfriend, and we go out to the bar where she's slinging drinks. So we're still not sure if these whales, which by the way, whaling is illegal in Oklahoma, so you have to call it like a nature conservation exercise, then you can fuck a fat bitch. But so we're not sure if it was the fat bitch trying to get him some of Tyler. We're not sure if it was the bartender mad at Tyler, because once you get 6 or 58, 11 beers in, then you kind of just start drinking each other's drinks, whatever's close. So I'm not sure if they're like somebody was a target, if they're like, oh, I'm the no idea. But yeah, I got Bill Cosby'd in fucking Stillwater, America.
Yes. I like that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's fun now. And was that I don't think it was that night. There was another night where, and he still has the video, I think, where me and him and another buddy of ours, our buddy's wife, filmed us doing the Goodbye Horses dance from Silence of the Lambs. Banny, and we're in full costume. But yeah, it's 3 dudes butt naked in my living room doing the dance.
I would try to deny, but there's video proof somewhere of we went to Albany. A buddy of mine stayed at his house. And we went to the motocross that night, the arena cross. So much fun.
Nice.
Got hammered, went home, started making this beer pyramid on his mom's coffee table. And we had Rob, man, before Rob died, man, Rob was always up for everything. Didn't matter. And it was like super like just chill dude. Didn't really talk to anybody, but you put a couple drinks in him. He's like, I'm going to go do a cartwheel in the front yard naked. We're like, no, you won't. Sure shit. Rob's naked doing cartwheels in the front yard. We are filming this with an old school camcorder. Big ass VCR tape camcorder, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Justin, the dude's house we're staying at, he's like, bombing ass out the door, naked. Just ass naked. Like, Justin, where are you going? Yelling, and he was running across the yard to the street, crosses the street to a church parking lot, and starts pole dancing on one of the light poles in the parking lot. This is all getting filmed. So amazing.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
We finish off a lot of beer that night. Between, I think there's 4 or 5 of us. A lot of beer. We ended up at like some random people's house at it wasn't even a party. We just showed up and walked in their front door, and they're like, what are you guys doing here? We're like, here at a party. And they're like, there's no party here. We're like, there is now. We're here.
It's okay. I brought my own.
We ended up passing out all over his mom's house. We get up the next morning, and we find the tape from the night before. Pop it into VCR. We're all sitting around the TV watching. His mom comes out. And we're all huddled around the TV. She's like, what is that? We're like, oh, nothing. She's like, well, that looks like the front yard. Oh, my God. Robert. We're like, sorry. Turns out we taped over his little brother's like elementary school graduation.
Yes. Like this is a
Ah.
much more meaningful life moment right here,
Oh,
dude. It's fine.
oh, so much. Mrs. Croup, if you're listening, I'm terribly, terribly sorry for anything we did that day.
Man, so you were talking about moms, and so there was a since about sixth grade there was a pot amongst a bunch of my friends about who'd be the first ones to take down my mom. It's been a thing forever. Okay, so the day of my buddy Buddha, the day of his wedding. So Indians have a bunch of weird rules, which is ironic because they like to drink and do pills. But anyway, you can't drink on tribal-owned property. So the event that we were at was like a tribal thing.
Have they ever
First of
told
all,
the
fun fact.
tribes members that?
I know it does. It's allegedly it's not hard to sneak in 4 different flasks across all your homies, and then you just like, oh hey, me and Squid need to make a trip to the bathroom because she's got the rum. So like it was pretty easy. But anyway, so we get back to my house, and I was like, hey, we'll just have like an after party at it was my mom's house. And I was like, hey, at her house. She's got plenty of space, and that way we don't have to worry about the event, whatever, or the venue. So we get there. We're sitting outside, and my mom's been flirting with my buddy. Nate, he's a great guy. He's another one of those. He's a majestic beard. He's the kind of dude that like warms up with like 350 on a bench press by accident. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that much." And you're like, "That's a fucking Volkswagen Bug, you dick." And he's a super nice guy though, just the sweetest dude. Huge hog, by the way. Anyway, so my mom's flirting with him all night long, kind of off, whatever. So me and Buddha and Nate are sitting out on the porch smoking cigars and bullshit and whatever. My mom comes out. She says, "Oh, I'm going to bed. All right, night." Give her a hug. "Hey, congratulations, Buddha." She goes, "Good night, Nate." And gives him this long hug, right? So I'm looking at Buddha and he's looking at me. She goes inside. Nate looks at us and I go, "Brother, if you go to bed on your own tonight, that's your fault." So he looks at both of us. Dude swallows the rest of his beer, one pulls his fucking Marlboro, flicks it in the yard, and goes, "Night, boys." I had to leave early that night, okay? So there's like 5 people passed out at my mom's house. She gets up in the morning and buys a whole house breakfast. I was trying to get that woman to cook for me for 30 fucking years, 20 something years at that point. All right, if I'd have known the answer to getting her to feed me was getting her some grade A dick from a dude half her age, I'd have done it years ago. Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Everyone's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, we got McGriddles or whatever." I'm like, motherfucker. I was living off Pop-Tarts I found in the pantry, but no.
They're 4 years old.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So in your time, not even time in the military, just like as you look back on it, like how do you look back on your military service? I've gotten answers all across the board. Is it like a pride thing? Is it a nostalgic thing? Is it something completely different?
At least at time of filming, it's February, so Pride's not till June. Hashtag ally. So there's that. Nothing but love for our Navy and Marine buddies, though. I don't know, man. It's probably mixed feelings, to be honest. Because when I was young, and I think a lot of guys, at least in my kind of generation, were like that, right? It's God and country, right? You got God in your heart, a flag on your arm, and it's you believe in things like patriotism and duty and your loyalty and selfless service and all the other shit, right? But then as you get a little bit older, and I got a front row seat to this being in the JAG Corps. You take this, you put the military on a pedestal, right? You think it's the best of the best, and it is be all you can be, and it's go Army, it's all these things, and then you see just how not the case that is, and you join for, they say, brotherhood and all that kind of stuff, and you can see a lot of how that's not the case. Like I remember going through boot camp, and I know in the Army it's basic training, and fuck off, all right, we're old, but I remember going through boot camp and seeing some dudes that were like gonna graduate with me, and I'm like, really? Like that guy gets the same, faggoty little stupid beret that I get. And I'm not saying I was like a fucking super soldier, but these guys were just constant shitbags, right? They were scurving out, they were sandbagging, never doing a work on a detail, any of that stuff. They didn't give a shit about their fellow soldiers, which is probably the big thing for me. Like, dude, if you're a great runner up or push up or pull up or whatever it is, like, help other dudes get better. Clearly, you have it. Help other guys, and so then you graduate, and then you're like, well, shit, and then you get into the army, and it's nothing else but it's just more of that. It's not the best and the brightest, and it's sorry if I'm shattering anybody's dreams. And I'm not saying don't join the military. It's been a lot. It's done a lot of great things for me. Obviously, I met some very great people, very handsome people when they start podcasts. But no, it's a lot of what you make it, and I feel like that's kind of a cop out answer because a lot of people say that, right? But that was probably the big thing for me. I joined because I believed in patriotism. I knew I was going to join the National Guard since I was in fifth grade. I remember it distinctly because I always loved history. I'm a history major. I loved the Minutemen. I always liked the idea. Like, Continental Army was cool, but I liked the idea of guys that were going to sit here and watch my farm and your farm, right? Take care of your stuff and my stuff. And if the in this case the British do show up, I'm going to stand on the porch in my tidy whities and my little buffalo boxer briefs and shoot them in the face until you guys can come back from wherever you're at. And I always liked that. They're always ready, always there kind of stuff. And that was actually my first tattoo was a pocket watch with no hands on it, right? Because I was a Minuteman. Always ready, always there, stay ready, and got to get ready, that kind of thing. But it's, like I said, especially being in the JAG Corps, you see just how ramrodded people can get, like just the amount of personal bullshit that gets involved. I don't like you, so I'm going to throw the book at you. And you're like, well, it was an honest mistake. Like, he didn't mean to mess that up. He's an E3. E3s do dumb shit. Like, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Esprit de corps, the division. Insert dismissive wanking gesture here. And then the next day, oh, one of their buddies, he gets, popped for that same DUI or whatever it is. Well, we'll counsel him, and we'll put him on, we'll give him fire guard. And you're like, so you Article 15 and ruined this guy's career over an honest mistake because he's 19, doesn't know any better, or, he didn't know that Moscow mules had alcohol, whatever it is, right? And then this dude who was clearly drunk on duty, who knew better, who, beats his wife and, rapes his dog and whatever, he just gets a counseling. So I look back on my service as a lot of mixed opportunity. And I don't say missed, I say mixed, because a lot of my career I was very fortunate, right place, right time.
Right
I was
uniform.
fortunate enough to have some great absolutely. Black boots for life, baby. But no, I always try to seek out good mentors, and that was something else that I was able, fortunately, to learn early on. Is that you can learn probably more from a bad mentor or a bad leader than you can a good one. Because good ones, just everything they touch is gold, right? Like, it's fucking King Midas, the mastodon-sized meat pecker. Like, everything he does is great. But the bad ones, you're like, I have a specific example of how he reacts to this situation, this situation, this situation, and I want to be better. Even if I don't know what better is, I'm going to do the opposite of that, and it should put me somewhere in the right ballpark. Fun fact, that's how I developed my leadership style and my style as a partner, because I just looked at all my sister's boyfriends and went, I'm going to do the opposite of that and see where that gets me. So far, pretty good. But no, so I look at it that way. There's hindsight's 2020, right? So, like we kind of mentioned earlier, if I'd gone back, I would have definitely gone active duty. I think that's especially for anybody who's at 18, 19, doesn't have any, they're not on scholarship or anything like that. They're not sure what they want to do. Go active duty. Do 4 years. Do 4 years active duty. If you do 20, that's awesome. Let it be a surprise, right? Plan on doing the 4 years. You'll have stories and life experience that you'll never get as the college experience. Like, okay, cool, but you ever been pissed drunk in fucking Korea or Japan or New Jersey with some of your closest friends? No, you were sitting in home ec, you fucking nerd. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at it. If I could do it all over again with the knowledge I have now, totally different ball game. But the flip side of that is, if I look back, oh yeah, I would have gone straight in to the Air Force and been a PJ or something. Okay, but I never would have been a paralegal. I would have never met some of those guys. I would have never got that experience. That would have never led me to recruiting. So it's you have to be careful when you're looking back about having rose-colored glasses, because was there a lot of missed opportunity? Yes, but was there also a lot of gold nuggets that I was able to get from the opportunities I was in? Yeah. So
No, that's a good one. That's a good answer. That's a That's a solid way to look at it. That, I like what you said about you learned your leadership qualities from your bad leaders, because
Absolutely.
that makes sense. Like you, man, we've got so many of them right now that it's hard to shake it off. The amount of bad leadership that's in the military right now. And that's all across.
Yeah,
It's active duty. It's National Guard. It's every single state. It's disconcerting with
it
this.
is.
And that's one reason they don't want to let me go in our current unit, is because I'll go up to
1,000%.
the dude with a jacked up haircut and be like, "Yo, you got to take yourself down to the barber and
Hmm.
get a haircut." And they're like, "No, I don't." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm going to drag you down there by your fucked up hair and make you get a haircut, or I'll do it myself and you won't like it at all."
Yep.
Like, I'm the guy that will make somebody dry shave with a single blade in the middle of
Yeah.
the armory because
Or you just pull
you
your
have a
seat off and be
5 o'clock
like, is this
shadow.
what you want? Is this what
Yeah,
you
you've
want?
got it.
This is what
You've
I
got
do
a
for
5 o'clock
me.
shadow. It's 10:30 in the morning, dude. You didn't
Yeah.
shave when you came here this morning. Here's a single blade disposable razor. You're going to shave dry right here. And they're like, you can get away
Spit
with it.
on it.
I'm like, I can only get away with it because I am, a card carrying member of the E4 Mafia from way back in the day, which we used to fix
See,
things. And they're like, oh, we want to keep him around so he can fix us. I'm like, I'm not fixing shit for you anymore.
yeah, and that's there's a line to be tread there, right? Because in my view, seasoned people of any profession, nurses, especially first responders, because there's a lot that you learn. Well, when you did your first ride along, right? When you were first on the beat or whatever the term is, you learn something, right? That if you give it to the brand new rookie, you're like, listen, I got 15 years of doing this, or 10 years, or 8 years, whatever it is. Learn from me, so you don't have to learn like me. Like, I can take a 10-year career, give you the nuggets, and now you're 10 years ahead of where I was at your age. Like a Jedi, right? It's the Jedi's responsibility to train the next generation or whatever. I'm a big believer in that. However, space, the flip side of that is you have leadership for a reason, right? If it was my job and your job to fix all the problems in the army, they would give us full birds or they would give us a couple of stars, right? So that's the line of, and that's why I'm a big fan of, like, your 10-meter targets, right? Your immediate guys. I want to make sure that, like, for us, I want to make sure the snipers are as squared away as possible, right? Outside of that, if somebody else sees that and you can lead by example, it has those third and fourth order, those ripple effects. But it's also not our job to go put out every fucking fire, square away every fucking soldier. Except for a certain point, you got to go, where's your first line? Matter of fact, never mind. Forget the first line. Are you proud of what you're doing right now? Like, I know we play Army, we're glorified Boy Scouts. I get all that, right? However, space, like, dude, you still have to wear that uniform with some fucking pride. And like I said, a lot of them don't. Now, again, I don't want to think I'm like a sergeant major for uniforms. I'm fucking not, dude. I'm the hell. You see me, or may not have some uniforms with some extra pockets sewn on it.
I don't know anything about
Hell,
that.
I'm still wearing frac use because that's what I have because I haven't been issued new uniforms since I've been back in the army. So
You got issued uniforms?
no, that's what I'm saying. I have frac use because I found them in the garage before my first drill.
I didn't even get issued uniforms. I had to buy mine on eBay.
Yeah, no, I said I'm wearing the I think they're the frac use, the
Yeah,
fire
the fire
resistant
resistant.
army combat uniform. They're basically the UCP pattern or that uniform, just in actual multicam, not UCP or OCP.
Right. OCP.
Yeah, but no. So I'm a big fan of, like I said, squaring the people away and setting by example. But at the same time, like, you still need to put that uniform on purpose. And that's for law enforcement, nurses, and it's a big thing for my older sister's a nurse. She's not one of the ones that I fucked. I want to make that very clear.
That's good.
She
That's good
probably has
information.
ruined my life, but yeah, Oklahoma, not Arkansas. There's a difference. But no, but it's a big thing, I think, because when you wear the same uniform every day, whether it's scrubs, whether it's duty uniform, whether it's whatever it is that you're doing, fire, whatever uniform they wear. I assume it's like suspenders and pants for the calendars, I think is what I've seen. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to drop one suspender off the shoulder just to make it sexy.
Yeah. Like I said, I was gonna pull it up for reference back, but my pages are stuck together as if by some natural adhesion.
It's okay.
I can't figure out what happened there. Probably the baby oil. Anyway, But no, you still have to wear that uniform on purpose. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people lose that. And like you've said before, the army started going to shit when we stopped having to polish our boots. And
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, I completely agree with that because that's something a little thing that you have to do every day, right? And you build that habit and you build that. You're like you would have an appreciation for when you see somebody with shiny boots, and you also have an appreciation for when you see somebody without properly shined boots, and you're like, oh, that's the difference in how this guy carries himself. Now, when you're in the field or you're fighting war, I don't
Who
fucking care. I'm
cares?
not that guy
Who
who's sitting there
cares?
who's like, you didn't shave. Like, dude, unless he looks like the Taliban, which may be what we're going for, right? Or AQ or fucking Hezbollah, any of the rest of them. I don't care. Stubble is not gonna. I like. Ooh, oh,
See,
your white socks.
there's
Oh my god. You're
there's
gonna
a
see your white
book.
socks, but not the fucking PT belt that I have strapped to my rucksack because I can't leave the wire without it. Really?
Well,
Really? My
no, it
bad,
protects.
Sergeant Major.
It's bulletproof, dude. It's bulletproof.
Yeah,
There's a
top secret
book
government science.
by Admiral. I think it was an Admiral McRaven, and he
Yeah.
was there. There's a book called like "Make Your Bed" and other little things or something like that. So he
Yeah,
was
something like
so
that.
basically he was Naval Special Operations Command, and he was in charge of the Bin Laden raid. He was in charge of the Captain Phillips mission, several other like DevGru and SEAL Team 6 stuff. Like he was in charge of that stuff. And he wrote
Rangers
this
lead the way,
book
but
and
SEALs, sure, whatever.
he's done like university graduation commencements and stuff. And uh, he's like, I like to tell my guys this, and I tell everybody this. They're like, get up in the morning, make your bed. That's your first victory. You've done one small thing
Absolutely.
that helps your day move on. It's a small victory. And he's like, make your bed. And I always like that concept of, the shine in your boots. It's one small thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one thing that makes you stand out from everybody else. And it's one thing that
Yeah.
you do that starts your day. So I don't, yeah, like I've told you guys that so many times that, when we stopped Black Boot Army and we stopped polishing boots, the Army went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't press
Yeah.
uniforms anymore. We didn't sew on ranks anymore like we used to with needle and thread in your barracks room with a bunch of buddies and some beers.
Yeah.
Military's
I
changed.
it has, and like you said, it's one of those little things, but it's a deliberate thing. Like it's a conscious choice, right? Like you're not gonna accidentally polish your boots. You're not gonna accidentally make your bed. And I was actually, I think I was in JAG school the first time I'd heard of because he gave a commencement speech. I don't know if it was to an Annapolis class, the Navy University, or if it was some buds. I don't know, but Admiral McRaven gave some speech, and he was kind of talking about that, the make your bed and stuff. And that was the first time I ever heard it, which would have made it 2015. But anyway, everyone always talks about the front end of stuff, right? Like the front half, the making your bed, the starting your fitness journey, the starting to lose weight, whatever it is, getting into the army selection, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Academy. No one talks about the ass end of it, right? And now I'm a boob guy, so I want to make that very clear. So asses are kind of a secondary thing. Great taste, less filling. But the point is, when you make your bed in the morning, even if you're half asleep, like while the coffee's brewing or whatever, like fuck it, blah blah blah. But then if you have an absolute shit kicker of a day, right? You just get your shit pushed in with your pants on, and you come home to a made bed. It does something to your brain where you're just like home feels, say, or your rack or whatever it is that you just feel so much better having a made bed, and then you kind of look back at past you from 8, 10, 15 hours ago, one shift ago, whatever it is, and you just go, high five, thanks past me, because present me really appreciates the 10 seconds that you took to just square the fucking blanket away.
And McRaven, if you're listening, I highly doubt you are, but if you are, hey man, reach out. I want to interview you. I know you got some good stories. No, I like that. This has been a good conversation. It's been fun hanging out with you. I haven't seen you in a long time, so
Yeah, it's
I've enjoyed it.
yeah. Like I guess I'll see you in whatever and whenever next drill is. I should probably know that, but
We'll see.
I mean, you're some kind of like half Air Force, half Army guy. Like, You're an Air Force sniper.
I'm a
I mean, what
hybrid.
the fuck?
I'm a hybrid. I don't know what I am right now because I'm technically neither. So we'll see.
Just call
Actually,
sign
technically
Andy
I'm
Steve
one.
or
I've been
something.
released from the other, but the other won't actually release me. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's
hey,
been
maybe
fun.
they'll be calling you for a 6-month extension to do your paperwork,
Oh,
so they can
I
release you to the
can't
Air
wait. I
Forces.
hope they
I've
do.
seen it happen.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I hope they do.
No,
My CIF
I'm
didn't
coming up
clear.
for. Yeah, I'm coming up for re-up. Well, you probably turned in BDU, and they just thought it was a bunch of stains. They never seen it before.
They've never
But
seen it. They're like, what are these? They're like hieroglyphics.
yeah,
Like, shit.
yeah, no,
Teach us the old
exactly.
ways.
Yeah. Now I'm coming up for re-enlistment, and I'll be curious to see because nobody's talked to me yet, and so I'm just like, Daddy's got some demands. I got
Right.
some demands.
Oh, you've got them all written
Like,
out in single space type, and you've got some cool cardstock paper. I know you do. Eggshell shit.
so, okay, so first of all, it's not single space. I prefer a 1.5. I prefer an inch and a half margin. Okay,
That's because you're fancy as
Times is
fuck.
the Times is the official font of the army. At least it used to be, I think. But generally, you can get by with a Calibri. Personally, I'm a Wingdings guy. There's your hieroglyphics, so I'll just have you
Hell yeah.
translate for me. Be like, what was that Key and Peele, where he's like, this is a translator. He's like, I think we can resolve this. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so I'll just like, ahem. I have my super senior specialist translator here for me.
Hell
Ahem.
yes.
I would like, y'all gonna give me this. Thank you, Lucas. Moving on. Item number 2.
Like it. Dude, this has been good, man. This has been fun. I appreciate you
Yeah.
hanging out with me tonight.
No, dude, I appreciate it. I mean, I probably could just tell you this in this next weekend. But so you were talking about the naked cartwheels.
Yes.
Allegedly, and it kind of back to, I guess, the after midnight thing. Allegedly. I don't know what the statute of limitations is in Europe, but we're going to find out, right? So I was over there for work, and I had some of my really good friends with me. So you and I know this, right? In a sniper team, you have the shooter and the spotter, right? Everyone thinks the shooter's the sexy part, right? Because, like, oh, you're on the gun. No, the spotter's the sexy part. Shooting is easy. If you can shoot
Shooter's just a
straight,
trigger.
yeah, I mean, I shoot about as straight as cursive. You know, that's about as straight as I am. So there's that. But my spotter is anytime I talk about him, I'd say my spotter. People think, oh, like I'm relegating him, right? Like he's second fiddle. I'm like, no, the spotter's the compliment. Any monkey can shoot, but the spotter's the compliment. So anyway, so it's me and my spotter, and then a couple other guys that we had met, and we go out drinking with an Irishman. That's how that starts.
Nice. That's
Go,
dangerous.
go out drinking with an Irishman. Oh yeah, and like one round in, one of our buddies who was in the Air Force, he he throws on his best Irish accent, and with the Irish guy, and so we're just like, this is every part of politically incorrect I've ever seen, and we're fucking here for it, dude. So we get blitzed, and so we're going from the Irish pub that we found to a titty bar, right? Which is what's gonna happen, and the Irish guy didn't have a military background, and the rest of us did. So we started talking about bear crawls or something, and he's like, what the fuck is a bear crawl? We're like, oh yeah, no, dude, like, we're like, actually, you know what? Our buddy Tyler, we're like, you should show him. And Tyler's like probably 6'2", 6'3". He's a little bit bigger dude, and he was like, I'll show him. And so I allegedly have the video on my phone of this large Air Force dude doing a bear crawl down the cobblestone streets of an unnamed European location while an Irish guy is just laughing until we're slammed drunk. Then we get to where we were going, and we end up, I don't think we're ever allowed back in that place because somebody, it wasn't me, I want to make that very clear, but somebody got sick, and I was in one of the private rooms with one of the dancers, and a female, that night anyway. And so I'm constantly checking on my buddies, and then the little waitress chick comes in and she goes, "Oh," I'm like, "All right, where's my my friend?" She's like, "Oh, he's okay. It was like he was fine." And then then after the next dance, it was like he's sleeping in the booth, and then it was he got sick. And so then I hear my spotter come around the corner. He's like, "Yo, P." I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "We gotta go." I'm like, "All right." So I'm put my pants on, all the stuff. and I'm beelining out, and I'm zipping my pants up as I'm coming out the little curtain or whatever, and they're like, "You can't go out there if you're naked." I'm like, "The fuck, I can't." And I had my drawers on, right, but I'm just getting buttoned up. We get there and we see he's just slumped in the booth. Apparently he'd thrown up. Not my spotter, one of the other guys, and we were like, "Ah, shit." So it was probably a 3-click hump from where we were at back to the where we were staying. And so it's me and this other dude, and we got this guy on our shoulders, and and it was one of those things where he's going, like trying to breathe, and you're just like, oh Jesus. You're just like, all right, don't look at the horizon, don't look at the ground, look in the middle. And dude, yeah, that was a good time, but that was definitely after midnight somewhere.
Yes, I love it.
It's no
That's a good
naked
way.
cartwheel, but it was a drunk bear crawl.
I love it. That's a good spot to end right there. That's a good spot to end. I appreciate it. Thanks, P.
Absolutely, brother.
I love it, dude.